One huge story that I'm not sure we've talked about enough, frankly, is dude Kevin Zeitler for the Lions. It's their starting right guard.
Did he practice yesterday? Because he didn't practice the other 2 days.
He has not practiced, and now they're saying he's out. Like yesterday, it was we'll see. Now he's out. They're going to start a rookie at right guard. The dude Christian Mahogany. And
like that name. I just say this here. With a name like that, he had to fight a lot, so he might be a badass.
I think he started one other game this year and played well by all accounts.
See, and that situation right
still,
there.
It's just you're talking about a 6th-round rookie is starting for you in the divisional round of the playoffs.
I understand that, but I would look at that situation just like I'm looking at us having a chance. You could be a veteran or be a player thinking, oh, he's a rookie, I'm going to handle him. That rookie might be a rude awakening for you. So I think you got to still view it like, look, this kid, if they're going to start him, if he was the backup of the first-string guy, he could play. They think they have something in him. And we know how Dan Campbell makes his guys practice. They've gone through the ringer. So if the kid is there, he should be able to play. But still, you give him respect, but you should think that our veteran guys should have more know-how than he does.
Well, I think this is not rocket science. I'm not reinventing the wheel, but the best way for them to disrupt a dangerous Lions offense is with interior pressure.
Yeah.
And I think being down a guard, and you are completely right. The way this Lions team is coached and developed, and frankly, the way they have absolutely smashed the draft and free agency, and Brad Holmes, the GM up there, deserves a ton of credit. And I think it's entirely possible this dude steps in and is just awesome, right? And I think still, though, Zeitler's good. I mean, he's a plus player, and I think that that's going to make a big difference.
It should throw off their timing because, you get a chemistry going when you have veteran linemen in there. So it should throw it off. But as I look at it, Detroit's good. We look at their offense. But we're averaging more yards than them rushing, which is weird as hell to me. Think about that. So we look at Detroit, we go, oh, they're potent, they're running game. We're averaging more yards per game than they are.
Over the course of the regular season, the Commanders were 3rd in the NFL, averaging 154 yards per game. The Lions were
at 140-something.
6th in the NFL at 146.
Both of them are good, but I'm saying when you look at the teams running, would you have ever thought that based off of just what you see?
I think the tricky part with that one, honestly, and we talked about this, I think, yesterday, is Washington's stats, and these are regular season stats, so the entire regular season counts. I mean, they were running, they had a stretch from week 4 to week 7, so 3 out of 4 games, they went over 200 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
And they went for 200 yards week 2. I mean, they had some really big rushing totals. Dude, against the Titans, they went for 270 on the ground.
Yeah.
So Washington had really big games on the ground that have driven up their rushing statistics. And then over the last month, kind of since the bye week, you've seen them struggle to move the ball on the ground. And I think people have probably incorrectly at this point separated the run game from what Jaden's running abilities are. And I don't think that should be the case.
Listen, Brandon, people that are doing that are just trying to look at stuff in a traditional manner, and they're trying to push what the analytics say. You win the damn game by doing what you need to do when that opportunity presents itself. And if your quarterback is a guy where they drop off and he can get yards and he gets them, that goes into your stats because he has that ability. How many Jared Goff, they're not expecting Jared Goff to do nothing like that because he doesn't run. If Jared Goff ends up with 35 yards on you, damn sure losing the game.
Right.
Because if he does something, that'd be out the ordinary.
Right.
But
And odds
you
are that would be a
can't
big
knock
play.
a guy like Jaden, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. That is a part of their offensive game plan.
Totally agree.
So when they get it, why would people want to take it out? Makes no sense.
Do you know how many yards Jared Goff ran for this season?
It's under 200, under 100 probably.
56.
That's what I'm saying. You know,
in 17 games, he had 35 carries for 56
but
yards.
see, this is what that tells you. This game today,
he's averaging 1.6 yards per carry.
It's not played in a traditional manner where quarterbacks drop back, put their foot in some cement, and let it just stay there. But if you are a quick thinker and get delivered the ball quickly, you can still work in this day too. That's what Jared Goff is. And people don't like to give him his respect, but the dude is badass.
Totally.
You know, so the ultimate thing is when you get out there, what do you do and how well do you do it? It's all that matters.
It's interesting looking at these rushing totals. The Commanders, including last week, had 4 games this season. They were held under 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit only had 1 all year, and that was against the Bills in Week 15. The Detroit run game, much more consistent than Washington's. They didn't have a single 200-yard rush game, whereas Washington had 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they only had, like, Detroit's run game, I say, just looking at the numbers, and I feel like we watch a lot of Detroit this year because they were on primetime a lot. Yeah. I think their run game was a very steady B+, A-. Right? They're 6th in the NFL. You know what Montgomery is. You know what Gibbs is. Whereas Washington's had some volatility to it. Mm-hmm. Washington had some A+ virtuoso ground game performances.
And that's some below.
And then they had some duds.
But let's be real. What matters is when and how.
Sure.
What if they go out there, Detroit, with their regular and get 140? What if Washington have one of their grandiosos? And if you look at people against Detroit, they were averaging, I think, 90-something yards, 80-something yards for the game. But there were games, I promise you, when they had a mobile quarterback where he had some yards. Because what do they play in coverage? Man-to-man. And what's a quarterback that can run? Favorite thing, watching guys back to him. So when he breaks it, hell, he's running 15 yards for he must notice he's running. World of difference.
You know what's been so fun is all week just going so in-depth on this one game and knowing how big of a game it is and how worthwhile it is to – I mean, we just did 5 minutes on Detroit's right guard. You know, like you don't get to dissect stuff like that throughout the regular season. And that's the difference.
Well, not in the past.
Right.